Hello, Facebook fans and YouTube fans of DX Engineering. It is Tuesday afternoon here in the Eastern time zone of the USA. It is 18:15 Zulu on February 11th, 2025. And this is Tuesdays with DX Engineering. Typically, this is a show where we have DX Engineering sales and support team members on with me. But today, we have a special guest. This is John Dorr, K1AR. John is the CQ Worldwide Director of Contests. Welcome, John.
Well, glad to be here, and hello to everybody who's watching.
John, we want to talk about you. We could talk for hours, but let's talk about today a specific topic, and that is the Contesting Hall of Fame. Tell us all about it.
Sure. Well, the the Contest Hall of Fame is something that was conceived actually and initiated back in 1986. So it has about 40 years of legacy behind it. And the idea was simply to recognize contest enthusiasts who not only were just good operators, because there's lots and lots of those kind of folks, but also acknowledge and recognize and honor, frankly, those that have given back to contesting in just a variety of different ways and have contributed to the sport and made it better for everybody. So it's a very special place to be. It's an honor to be part of it, and it's something that a lot of contesters around the world hope that someday, just like the other halls of fames in sports and other places, is a spot that they hope to accomplish someday in their contesting career. There's 87 members in the Hall of Fame right now. The very first couple members, for some of us old timers, you'll remember these calls. K2GL, of course, one of the champions of the very early successful multi operations. There's our dear friend Noze, KH6IJ. Many of you will remember him, and who can forget G3FXB? Those are just a couple of the folks that of the 87 that are members. So I can keep going here, Tim, but why don't we let me turn it back to you, and you can maybe direct us a little more specifically, and happy to chat.
All right, very good, John. John, I do want to point out to our viewers that this is live, and of course, we have the chat room open. If you have questions about the Contest Hall of Fame or questions about the worldwide contests, the CQ Worldwide, the 160, the RTTY, those contests, you can ask those in the chat as well. John, do you see my screen there where it talks about the inductees?
I do. Mm-hmm.
So you were going down the list of K2GL and KH6IJ and G3FXB. And then the oldest living Contest Hall of Fame inductee would be OH2BH, who was, as far as length of time spent in the hall, Marty was the fourth member inducted in '89. Tell us what the nomination process looks like.
Sure. I think a lot of people they confuse nominating somebody for this with being a good operator, and certainly that's part of it. But if you think about something, let's say like the Baseball Hall of Fame, uh, somebody who's in the Baseball Hall of Fame generally is not there simply because they have the highest batting average. They actually contribute in a more significant way to that sport in other statistics and other accomplishments that, as a total package, really make them stand out. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with the Contest Hall of Fame as well. So, for example, if you start to think about the kinds of contributions that folks make to our contesting avocation, so to speak, In addition to operating, you can start to think about folks who have written logging software. You can think about folks who have administered contests over the years. You can think about those that have led or have been presidents of contest clubs, or who have started contest clubs that have been successful around the world. I think of folks who have done a lot of good work to bring more youth into the contesting world. Those that have quietly behind the scenes contributed immensely to the IT infrastructure of contesting and made it a more desirable and easy to use kind of place for submitting logs and so forth. We have prolific writers amongst our midst who have contributed immensely in technical and operating contributions that have benefited literally thousands of other contesters. And we just have folks that frankly are just good at promoting and waving the flag for contesting on a global basis. So when you really think about that, that's quite a list of alternatives that people can look at when they decide that they want to perhaps nominate somebody. And with 87 members, you might think, well, gee, maybe we're running out of people. But in fact, one of the great things about the contesting sport is that there's so many people that have given so much, and there's many more deserving folks. And that's why we have a process for bringing on an annual basis those folks in. As you know, the most significant thing that one can do, and I'll just describe the process here very briefly, is to prepare a set of information, like a fact sheet or almost like a resume, if you will, of somebody that you believe ought to be in the Hall of Fame, containing all that kind of information and more. The details of really what we're looking for is on the website that you were just looking at on the screen. And my suggestion, if you have an inkling for somebody in mind, is to check out contesthof.com. contesthof.com. And that lists more specific information about the kinds of things you need to include to prepare a nomination. The good news is that it doesn't require 300 pounds of emails to do that. A simple summary and kind of a resume, having anybody who might want to endorse a nominee would be helpful. These kinds of things. The key thing is to get all that information into me by March 1st. And my email is simply cqk1ar@gmail.com. And you can send all those to me, and then I will, after March 1st, begin the process of voting and selecting the final members.
So, John, that contesthof.com website is relatively new, but it is very comprehensive and really does explain the nomination process. It's got a lot of bio information on all the current members. And we want to thank Randy Thompson, K5ZD, for his hard work to put that together. John, why don't you talk about how, once the nominees are selected for entry into the Hall of Fame, what is the process then? What happens? What is the event?
Sure. So one of the things that we really work very, very hard at is to not make this a fan club kind of process or an old boys network, that kind of thing. And really try to have a very, very nonpartisan, unbiased approach to voting for people and candidates that have been put forth. The way we do that is we, once all of the nominations have been received, we have a committee of folks that represent leadership positions in most of the CQ contests, such as WPX, RIDI, and so forth. Those that have written contest columns, people with call signs that you recognize and respect. And the process really is very democratic. We ask people to vote for their top 1, 2, 3 selections for who they believe ought to be inducted. And my job is simply to collect the votes, add them up, and come up with a conclusion based on how the votes came in, the number of number 1 votes, the number of number 2 votes, the number of number 3 votes, and just do simple math. So I really have the easy job of doing things like this, collecting the nominations, and then forwarding and pulling together the final results. We typically will select 2, sometimes 3 members into the hall each year. And the best part of it is what you're looking at on the screen right now, and that is that we have and I have the honor and privilege at the contest dinner in Dayton to announce and to bring into membership into the Contest Hall of Fame the members that have been selected in a given year. And we try to keep it pretty much under wraps in terms of who's been selected, right up to almost dinner time. But Hams, the word sometimes gets out, and that's not the end of the world. But I can tell you, watching people's reactions to being told that they are being brought into the Hall of Fame is priceless.
It is priceless. It is an honor to be recognized by your peers as going above and beyond and doing something special. And as you pointed out, it's not about contest scores or contest stations. It is about giving back to this great hobby. And the more you give back, the better your chances are that you're going to leave this life a better place. And so I do want to recognize some folks in the chat room, John. From Philadelphia, it's Whiskey Juliet 3 United. Mexico, X-Ray Echo 2 Zulu Zulu. And Donnie says there's always good people to get to know on your videos. Keep up the good work. Kilo Kilo 4 Echo Kilo Kilo down in Tennessee. And Addie, Germany 6 El Fidela says, who picks the Hall of Fame recipients? And that is the worldwide directors and some of the people on the contest committee. And John oversees that whole process. So it goes very, very smooth. Gary, W9 X-Ray Tango, I already have my contest banquet ticket where this year's inductees will be announced. Addie mentions, what a great way to honor the great and the good in the exciting world of amateur radio contesting. Jens is on, Delta Lima 1 Whiskey Whiskey from Germany. And Mark, November 4 Bravo Charlie Delta, who is also the chairman of the Huntsville Hamfest. Elmer under a contester, K4AB, and I set a field day record. And the operating tips are invaluable. We also have November Bravo 2 Papa on with us today. Dan, good to see you. And the sun isn't even up yet, and it's from Australia, Victor Kilo 4 November Mike. Steve is on, our good friend. My question may have been answered, but can the nominee be a silent key? And how's that process go, John?
Well, the answer is yes. In fact, we've done that several times. The most recent example was when we inducted Dick Ross, publisher of CQ magazine, just last year, K2MGA, who had passed prior to that. So that's an important distinction to know, that if there are folks that have left us, they certainly can still be honored in this way, and it would be a fantastic way to do that for those that are eligible. I would also add, we typically get anywhere from 10 to 15 nominations per year. So as you might imagine, when we're only selecting 2 or 3 from that lot, there's a lot of folks that are certainly eligible and worthy of being inducted. So I would encourage those of you who go through that process and the person that you've supported is not selected, just resubmit the following year. And you just never know how the vote's going to go with all the folks involved. But there's always an opportunity to resubmit. It's not automatic, so you have to do it again. But with 15 in last year's case nominees being put forth, it gives you a little bit of a sense of the fact that we're not running out of great people that belong in the hall.
And it's nice for clubs to do the nominating process. It shows that a club organization has more than just one person, and the club would be supportive of a nomination. Bubba's on with us, November 4, Queen Mike. I am always in awe of the contesters. My brain doesn't work fast enough for a sustained contest pile-up run. But Bubba, you can always get in and go at Bubba's speed and work as many guys as you like. That's the great thing about contesting. Anybody can participate. Thomas is on, November Golf 3 Quebec. So great to honor those that make ham radio and contesting great. And that's what it is about, recognizing those that are giving back to this hobby in substantial ways. John, thanks so much for being on today and sharing the story of the Contest Hall of Fame.
It's been my pleasure. And I would just conclude by mentioning that a lot of this is happening due to the efforts of the Worldwide Radio Operators Foundation, WWROF. And if you want to find more information about that and how they are contributing to the radio sport, check out wwrof.org, and there'll be a ton of information that you'll find useful. Pleasure to be with you guys.
All right. Thank you, John. And thanks to all of you for watching. More information at contesthof.com. Until next time, 73 from DX Engineering.